afternoon, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. John Kelly, profiler here, and welcome. Welcome to today's show. Profiling Tyler Robertson, the killer, suspected killer of Charlie Kirk. I want to send our condolences out to Charlie Kirk and his family and friends. Very, very sad situation here. I'm very sorry for what they've gone through and going through. I got to tell you, looking at this in the beginning, I thought this was a pretty slick and smart killer. And let me show you why. I want to show you the way he navigates these stairs and his area where he had his sniper set up, at the college. So you have an idea.
This neighborhood, take a look. You can see the images now of that suspect. They're walking in the street, and if you can see, the person is walking with a limp there, and it is believed to be because that person has a rifle in the pants, and they are walking very difficult because of that object that is inside of the pants. Take a look here of that limp right there. And you can see there the suspect continuing to walk.
So you see him limping in the video, right? No question about it. He's limping into the venue. People are going to think, poor guy, maybe he's a vet. He's a young guy. It's too bad. Look at something happened to him. He's limping. He came here anyway. That's how much he wanted to be here. Probably in pain. So he's limping his way in. Oh, he's got a veteran shirt on. This guy's really playing a role, okay, to get into that venue. He's really manipulating the situation. And see what he did, how smart and slick he was. He took that 30-06 rifle, that high-powered rifle, which is a takedown rifle, and he put it together. He made damn sure that it was completely together and strapped or taped to his leg. So it makes it look like he's limping. The reason he doesn't have it broken down is because if he has it broken down, he has to put it in his knapsack. Well, maybe the protocol by Charlie's security for the venue is to search all knapsacks and bags. So he figures it's better to take a chance on getting it in one solid piece, having the rifle completely put together already, and have it in my leg, the pants of my leg, then take the chance of having it broken down and hidden in my backpack, because if they search the backpack, they'll find it. Pretty smooth, wouldn't you think? Pretty slick move. So now off he goes, and into the venue he goes, and he gets by everything. Again, poor, young guy, limping, probably there because he's really a conservative kind of guy, because he's wearing the veteran's shirt as well, so he really used the role to get in there. And now he's got a fully connected and loaded 30-06 high-powered rifle, and he's going up to his perch, where he knows exactly where he's going. Just to show you that he does have considerable intelligence, you have to understand that this guy, had a GPA of 4.0 when he was in high school. His GPA was 4.0, and near perfect ACT testing, according to his mother's posts on Facebook back in the day. So, this is not a dumb young man, okay? This is an intelligent, at least on paper, very intelligent young man, who I must say has destroyed his life completely. There's no question about it. So now the other thing we want to take a look at is how he's navigating the steps. This is important, how he's navigating the college. Now, if you look here, he's coming up the steps, and this is the only full shot photo they have, okay? And that's it. As far as I've seen so far, They got him dead on camera here. You can see who he is, and there's people out there that know who he is. And obviously got reported very quickly by his family, or was asked to report himself by his family, and he voluntarily did uh, call himself into the law enforcement. So, you know, but this was a shot. This was $1 million shot, because if you look at the other shots and the way he navigated himself through this college and on the steps, if you look at the first one again, you'll notice that he was kind of using his arms against the railings. Yeah, thank you. Using his arms against the railings to get up the steps, right? If you notice, no fingerprints, hands aren't touching anything. Doesn't want to leave any fingerprints. Also, because he's got his arms covered over, he's not leaving any hair, skin follicles, not leaving any DNA. I mean, this guy knows what he's doing at this point. It was surprising to me how sophisticated this young guy was. So we'll see what else is revealed here before this story's just starting. So now we see him back on the steps again, and you'll see him really not putting his hands on the railings, not touching anything, staying away from it, and pretty much just trying to keep his balance. He's in really good shape. He's trying to keep his balance, navigate the steps, go up the steps, make his moves without really touching or grabbing onto anything and leaving any fingerprints. Pretty interesting. Yeah, they, I think, felt that they got a palm print somewhere, but, what obviously wasn't enough to get them to him very quickly. No question about it. So he didn't leave any fingerprints at all. And the other thing you have to look at too, uh, if we can go back one more time to that shot, I want to emphasize the cameras. I mean, you have to understand the way he's navigating the cameras here. Again, it shows sophistication. He knows where the cameras are. I would bet he's been there at least once before. He's very familiar with this particular area, or else he's just that smart and he's just, really on his game. Because we have the one shot that I showed you earlier where you got a full shot of him. But other than that, here it is, full shot of him. So, and I think that's what rang his bell. That's what nailed him to the cross. But getting back to these other shots, if you take a look at these other shots on the stairwell, you're going to see that he was able to avoid the cameras, and quite a few cameras. So it's not the first time he's been there. If you notice in these camera shots, you cannot see a really good shot here. You can't get a good idea of who he is or see his face very well. Okay, that takes some skill. That takes some skill. You got to be on your game for something like that. There's no question about it. Also, I think we have to focus on him jumping off the building and running away. So the poor guy that came in with a limp and could hardly walk very well is now jumping around, running, and in fact, he's going to jump off a building for you. you know, so here he comes. He's coming, heading. Yeah, it's the building. Makes a maneuver. Now he's got the rifle broken down in the bag and comes down off the building. And away he goes. Whoop, there you go. And away he goes. He takes off. All right. So here we see him again. The bottom line is that this guy is running with the weapon and he wants to get rid of the weapon. And he successfully does that. Gets through the neighborhood, across the street, and into the woods, and disappears in the woods, but leaves the weapon, which law enforcement finds pretty quickly. Great work, law enforcement, no question about it, all the way on this case. Wow. So anyway, he escapes with the bag and the rifle's in the bag, and he leaves the rifle in the bag in the woods and goes about his business, right? And I would tell you, if you want to check out our previous video, we put a link up from yesterday. You'll see some of the hits we had. We did a short little profile on him, but we were right on. We had it pretty good. And see what you think about it. So now you've got him leaving this bag in the woods. Now, in our profile yesterday, you know, and in the bag that he's left in the woods, he's got a 30-06 broken down. They call it a takedown, but it's broken down and folded in that bag, right? So we talked about yesterday that you don't go from 0 to 60, in murder that quickly. I mean, 1 minute, you're fine, and the next minute, you're out at a public venue committing a public assassination of a prominent and popular figure like Charlie Kirk. Right? So you got to understand this. This is kind of out there. But we said you got to get worked up. I mean, it's over time. You don't go from 0 to 60 with things like this. There's a period of where this builds up. There's a period of this volcanic rage building up inside of you, this internal rage, until it becomes combustible, and then you have all this volcanic rage come out in some kind of violent episode, right? So when we're based on the statements we're hearing now that he was, building himself, working himself up with statements he was making, at somebody's house before dinner or at dinner, he was making statements about Charlie Kirk and this and that. And then also we understand that he made statements to a roommate now. Now, supposedly the statements to the roommate, I don't know how true they are. I'm not positive. We're going to hear more about it, but I'm befuddled by it. I'm like curious what the hell's going on here. Because supposedly a statement he made to the roommate was, that he left a weapon in a bag in the woods at such and such drop place, right? Now, from what I understand, the roommate said that this was a joke. He thought it was a joke. Well, I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing. And I don't think it's a joke. I'm wondering if the roommate is a joke because somebody that has gone this far and killed a prominent person like Charlie Kirk is now making, these really ridiculous mistakes of calling up a roommate who's far away from him, and he's telling him, "Hey, look at, I've got a weapon in a bag over here in the woods at a certain point." Why? Why would you do that? Why would you call the roommate up? And then roommate says, "Oh, I thought he was joking." Really? You thought he was joking? He's talked about Charlie Kirk in the past. It's all over the TV. Charlie Kirk's been assassinated. I mean, what's going on here? There's something here. I'd like this to be clarified better. I'm really curious about this. Okay, the messaging that the roommate got. I really need to think the media needs to clear that up so we can have a better understanding of it. It's a joke that he was contacted with a drop point for a weapon that was just involved in a high profile murder. I mean, I don't know. Let's clear this up for everybody, okay? Yeah, he had to talk to people to get worked up like that. This had to be an ongoing thing. I mean, I wonder if he was even manipulated, even though he's got the smarts on paper, with his GPA and the ACT testing and everything. Bottom line is, he can be manipulated, and was he? I don't know. We're going to find out. And it doesn't matter how smart somebody is. Lots of times they make mistakes, and there's no such thing as a perfect crime, right? So really, when you think about it, if you want to take a look, here he is, over at the college going up the steps. You see the Converse sneakers on him, okay? So probably when he leaves here, does the deed, everything's behind him, he takes off, gets home, he changes, whatever, gets rid of all his clothes and everything. But when he jumped off that building, he left a footprint. And a footprint's just as good as a fingerprint in many, many cases. All right. So they probably have a footprint of him in that Converse sneaker. I have no doubt in my mind if he is, in fact, the killer. Now, the bottom line is let's go back and take a look at something that took place in 2019. We have a family get together in 2019. Now, take a look here. In 2019, he's with his family. What's his preferred sneaker of choice? Converse. He's got a Converse on right there. So he's been wearing Converse. So even though he's changed everything about himself, to do the deed, he didn't change the sneakers. All right. And that's certainly probably something they're going to use against him in court, that footprint. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for listening to me. I hope you have a great day. Most importantly, take care of yourself. And it's a very violent world out there, so stay on your toes. And then until we meet and talk again, God bless and have a wonderful day. Thank you.